Hello again and welcome back to video 6 in this series of Media Ninja Designer training videos. Now up to this point we've covered every object and all of the object properties except for a container. So a container is literally a grouping object, and that's how it behaves. So it's going to have a parent-child relationship with all of the objects inside of it becoming its children, or they're parented to this container object. So you kind of treat it just like its own little screen. Now some of the reasons that you would use an object is when you are doing grouping tools and you want to be able to move, resize, or edit all of them at once. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new container here, and I'm going to change the background to none. So for this demo, this will make it a very simple way to explain. And with this container selected, I'm going to now insert an image. And now you see that the image is inside the container and it's bound to the container. So now this image is now a child of the container. And if you look in the tree view, that's how it's presented. You'll see that the container itself has a drop down, and underneath the container is the image. That's just the exact same way that objects work within the screen. So this is almost its own little screen here. So we're going to go ahead and select the image, and I'm going to just throw a couple things together real quick here. And of course we can also add some text. Don't mind my formatting. We will get down to a detailed and compiled menu here at the end, but for right now we're just doing some examples here. The key is when you're doing the insert to make sure that you have the container selected, by the way. Okay, so now I have 3 objects inside of my container. And depending on what I'm doing with it, there's a lot of things you can do with a container, but if I'm making a combo item, which is kind of what I'm representing here, with the container selected, I can simply click clone object, and it's going to clone an entirely the same exact version of that container and everything inside of it. So now if I'm making combos, and if I have, whether I have 3, 5, 10, we can just sit there and simply clone. And then we would go back through and change the text and maybe change the sandwich picture or what have you. But that'll give you the exact same formatting in all of these different objects. Now, if we have an object inside of a container selected, we can change individual properties of that one item, but we can also change all of the properties at once while we have the container selected. So once you select the container, you move it as a group, and all of the universal properties apply to it as a group. So that we can adjust the width or the height, the position, or the rotation of the entire object. And again, if you just want to select a single item within the group, we can adjust that individually as well. Now, one thing to notice is, as far as the layering or the depth goes, all of these objects, while you have them inside of a container, behave as if they are on one layer. So for example, I would not be able to take this image box that's not inside of a container and layer it in between objects inside the container. It's either going to be below the container or above the container. Objects within the container can be layered in between each other. So if I wanted to lower this down, I can do that, or bring it back up, I can do that. But outside the container, objects only see one layer where the container is. So that's just something to note when you're building the menu. If it's going to need to be in between objects within that container, then it's best not to use the container at all. But to use the container will definitely increase your productivity and increase the build time of editing and creating your menus, as you don't have to do very repetitive tasks like combo items or list items, or just it saves the formatting. You can put everything inside your menu inside of a container if you wish. There's a couple reasons why you would, but most of the time you're going to build it out like I have it here, where you're going to have a couple individual containers for all of your grouping objects. That basically goes over the basic functions of a container. So after this, we're just going to start building what I would consider a real menu, and we're going to go over some of the things like publishing our playlists and designing promotional playlists after this. All right, thanks for watching.